Hello and welcome back to another episode of Film of Power. Now today's video we're going to be talking about the Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. And we're going to be talking about Sauron. Which is Sauron's strongest form in the Rings of Power? So we know of two forms he has, HALBRAND from Numenor and ANNATAR in Eregion. So the first one I'm going to start with for the strongest form is going to be HALBRAND. So I'm just going to read off some points which I think HALBRAND is the strongest form of Sauron. So HALBRAND is the man version of Sauron. So with HALBRAND, when he is in Numenor with Galadriel, we have some really good points about him. So the first thing we know of HALBRAND, he likes to craft many weapons in Numenor workshop on his own. And this shows some really good skills to the other people in the blacksmiths. Another reason that HALBRAND is the strongest form is he can be very aggressive with certain people in Numenor, and he is also very good in hand-to-hand combat without weapons in Numenor. So the fighting scene in the alleyway when he stole one of the Numenorians' coin out of his pocket when he was going drinking with them. He was very aggressive in that fight, but he did give a warning, but they did not heed his warning, and he managed to beat them in a fight. So I think there was 4 guys on one person, and he beat all of them, even the bigger ones. That is another very good point. He is also very good in sword combat against the orcs that are his enemies, and ANNATAR being his enemy as well. So when HALBRAND is fighting the orcs with Galadriel and his supposed army, he does very well in the sword combat, and he is also very good with his spear on the horse as well. Another great point of HALBRAND is he's very good at riding horses for battle against the orcs and chasing down ANNATAR in the forest. Another great thing HALBRAND is very good at, he's very good at using his words to a certain extent, along with pickpocketing one of the Numenorians. Unfortunately it fails due to the Numenorian being very aware. So as HALBRAND in his looks as a man, he looks very rough with the long hair and beard stubble to give off a manly look, and being very rugged as well, with dark brown hair and blue eyes. The way HALBRAND speaks to Numenorians is very manly in itself. He talks in a very direct manner and very stoic with his words when talking. So another good thing about HALBRAND is he is very good at being quick-witted while talking with the men of Numenor. So when he sat down for the drink in Numenor, and they made fun of Sauron, HALBRAND, because Galadriel did not fancy him or really like him romantically for dating purposes, he was very quick-witted with the men that was making fun of him, and he changed the topic very fast. He is also very good at being inventive while in the Numenor blacksmith for crafting weapons. As soon as he gets to the blacksmiths, he is offering to make them weapons of the best kind they have ever seen in their lifetime. And HALBRAND did create some really good weapons. So he made daggers, he made swords, and he made them with great haste and speed. So when we see Galadriel talking to him in the blacksmiths, he says he has been there for quite a while creating the swords and the daggers for them to fight against the orcs. And they weren't just any old swords and daggers, They were very sharp, they were well pointed, and they were greatly made by his hands, by somebody who knows what they're doing, and he doesn't take his time, he doesn't beat around the bush when making these weapons. He gets to the point of making it. So that is a few points on Halbrand being Sauron and being the strongest form. Now I am going to switch over now to ANNATAR. Is ANNATAR the strongest form of Sauron in the Rings of Power? So let's see some great points. I'm going to read out some points to you on why ANNATAR could be the strongest form of Sauron. So ANNATAR in himself is an elf. So just contradicting Halbrand a little bit, almost being similar. He likes to craft rings for his own evil use in a region with Celebrimbor. Now, Halbrand could craft swords and weapons on his own in the blacksmith workshop, but with ANNATAR, craft rings for his own evil use, he needs somebody's help. He needs Celebrimbor for this. Another great thing about ANNATAR, he is very calm and well composed while under threat. So when they find out he actually was Sauron and they pointed all of their swords at him in the workshop with Celebrimbor, he stood there with calmness and he was well composed. He didn't panic at all, but one twist of the hand and he managed to kill all of them at the same time. Another thing about ANNATAR, he is good at manipulation and deceiving elves in a region. He is very good at using a spear as a weapon, just almost like Halbrand is good at sword combat against the orcs in Numenor. One finally good point about ANNATAR, he is also very good at pretending to be friendly to get what he wants. So when he first arrives in a region, he is very friendly with Celebrimbor, he is very positive with Celebrimbor, and he chooses his words very wisely. He does not mess around with a conversation. When he wants something, he gets to a positive conversation and trying to convince of the best sort, basically. He is also, along with being that, he's very good at being sneaky with Celebrimbor. So while being in a region with all the other elves, he talks to Medania. Now, with him talking with Medania, he's very good at comforting Medania to gain trust in bad situations. So Medania was very worried about the war and the orcs coming to a region, and ANNATAR is very, very good at comforting Medania so she doesn't panic, so she fully trusts him with everything she has. Another good thing with ANNATAR, when he is fighting against Galadriel, he does not panic in the fight of combat, but he is good at turning up the heat in the fight, with Galadriel using Morgoth's crown as an evil leverage. So he's using the sword against Galadriel, but at the same time he has Morgoth's crown and he stabs Galadriel with the crown for leverage. He's also very good at being a little flirty with Medania as well, to gain positive feelings, so she does not fear ANNATAR and she is fully involved with him and trusts him more than Celebrimbor. Now, with his appearance, he is very different compared to Halbrand. So ANNATAR looks pretty with long blonde hair and a clean face. There is no beard stubble whatsoever, and this fine appearance goes very well with him being very well spoken and he is quite silver-tongued, being charming and smooth, just to fit with his appearance. Another thing with Halbrand and ANNATAR. ANNATAR does not shout or talk in a manly way, but he can be very direct while talking with Medania about Celebrimbor, saying bad things about him. And finally, the last point of ANNATAR I would like to bring. He uses violence as a last resort against elves and Celebrimbor in Eregion, while Halbrand can be violent with one easy fuse. If you do something wrong to him, just a little bit of wrong towards Halbrand, he gets very aggressive and very violent, and he handles himself very well. But with ANNATAR, he kind of hides his violence and his aggressive manners away, unless it is very much needed. So that is my points on Sauron being in his two forms. Which do you think is Sauron's strongest form? Do you think Halbrand is the strongest form for a man of Sauron, the male version, or the elf version ANNATAR of Sauron? Post a comment below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and enjoy watching your films. Please subscribe and leave any comments and likes, and share the video around if you are a fellow Lord of the Rings fan.